Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday afternoon, September the 6th, 2020. I hope everyone is doing as well as possible. This is my weekly methane update and sea ice report and climate update that I will be putting on YouTube. So, I wanted to start out by showing this is from Zoom Earth. This is the latest satellite image from 5 p.m. Pacific time of all the fires. Look at this. The smoke and the fires out here in the California in the west here. And I am in Nevada, which is right up here. So I'm suffering today, but I've been in with the door closed, windows closed, the AC on, air cleaner going, and it's been like this is the worst it's been so far, but one of these fires down here pretty much just came up overnight. Here's down here near Yosemite is where it just ballooned up overnight. Now this fire was down by Lake Topaz, but look at this. This was 5 o'clock yesterday, and it created I just finished watching the local weather, and they said that this created its own thunderstorm, and that's what happens, but it's awful. And so we're getting all this smoke because the wind is from the south, so you couldn't even see the sun today here in Reno, and the sky is orange, and there are clouds mixed in with the smoke, and look how it's covering. This is the United States. It's covering, well, it's on Zoom Earth. Like in the places where the sun's gone down, it's already dark. But if we go back, let's just go back an hour or two, see how it had been streaming out, but look at, just in the last few hours it's gotten so much worse. So there it is at 5 o'clock. So, welcome to abrupt, irreversible climate change and the craziness of the weather and the end times. So I am documenting the end times, and if you'd like to see more than one video a week, I have my Subscribe channel for my private members. The link is in the description box below. I do almost a daily update. I usually am able to do some kind of video every day, just going over methane and sea ice and climate and earthquakes, or sometimes I present articles. But I'm documenting the end, and I talk about what's going on in my world and things like that. So we'd love to have you over there with us, and it's a small community, but it's a place that we can come and share together. And so I'm a little upset with CAMS this week. They have not updated their methane since Monday, August the 31st. Now, in my weekly report last Sunday, I showed Saturday the 29th, and so here's the 31st, and I can run the movie that I recorded. I'm not able to really load up all the images here very well. I think they're pulling them down. But, so what I thought I'd do is show the movie from CAMS and then go over the NOAA methane data. So let's go here. So this is the a part of the, here's the movie that I recorded for my Subscribestar members. And I've turned the sound off, but I can describe what's happening, but we can at least see the latest that CAMS had put up. And you can see when I did this show, they had Monday up, and they had the three days before that. So we've got Arctic view and surface level. There's the color ledger at the bottom. So the data is for Monday, and the forecast runs Tuesday through Friday. So we're seeing high readings in the Barents, not the Barents Sea, the Kara Sea by Severnaya Zemlya. It's like ripping open there. I think a rift has opened up. There was a new article that came out recently about methane craters releasing or forming cracks forming under methane craters in the ocean on the seafloor, and actually releasing methane. And so I think that's what's happened here. I think that we've got a crack in the seafloor, and because we've got the plate line running through up there, and that's been coming up there since January, and it's only been getting worse. And so what I'm showing here is the Scandinavian area that is just really filled up, and as it goes into the forecast period, see the wave of high methane move out into the Barents Sea. And notice how Russia has filled back up with methane. We've got higher background readings as well. And of course they've had lots of fires and smoke up there, and so lots of methane coming up. And now I'm switching to the North Pole view. So we zoomed out and we can see the pretty much the whole northern hemisphere here. And the white spot is showing back up in China. Let's see if it comes back again. I'll show you look right, yeah, there it is, right there. It's at the beginning, but I'm showing that India and China are filling up and streaming over the coastline through the oceans, so getting much higher readings in India and China. Let's see, that's what I'm showing there. See, it's going over the coastline, coming up through the ocean there. Oh, there's another new article came out about they did a study from methane data that they had received for 2011 through 2014. They just now finished analyzing it and doing the study and everything. But in the southern hemisphere, they found a lot more methane coming up in the seafloor. So, surprise, surprise. So, by the time, if we have a blowout, and we will, and we could be having a blowout this week, and that's why CAMS is down. But they could be having meetings about what they're going to release and modify and tweak and everything. But if and when we have the blowout, it could be years before they announce it. They'll finally say, oh, by the way, 3 years ago in September, we found methane spiked up to whatever in the Arctic, 5,000 parts per billion, or at surface level, or 10,000, or 50,000, or 100,000, or oh, by the way, we had 100 gigaton methane bomb go off, and that's why everybody's dead. I mean, we'll be dead by then, by the time they get done with sanitizing all the information. So this is why it's important that those of us who can, and I encourage anybody who can, to do some research and present it. I don't have to be the only one presenting this, and present the data and show people what's going on, because we each have our own way of presenting and our own way of researching and our own favorite sites, and oh, here's 500 HPA. Look at that high reading in China and over India and Asia. It's also high in Africa. It's also high up in the Arctic there. And look at the dark green all the way to the bottom. Now here's total column. So see, that's looking worse. It's really spreading out with the higher readings. Look at it in Africa with the red. So I'm going to stop that. So that's the latest methane data that we've got on CAMS. I'm going to minimize that. So at least I've been recording that and presenting that every day. I'm documenting the end, and that's my job. Now we're going to look at the NOAA data, although I did not use the data from the 5th for my weekly report, and I'll show you why in a minute. And this is also going to be supporting why I think something must be going on up there and that they don't want us to know about. So here's the NOAA methane data for the 477/469 millibar reading. This is for the MET-OT1 satellite from yesterday, September 5th in the morning. The AM means morning. And the mean or average for this reading was 1908 parts per billion. And the high reading was spiked up to 2843 parts per billion. And that's higher than what we're used to seeing. So that's a spike of an increase for the highest reading. Now this pink color that we're seeing here correlates to this area here in the range, and it is a range between 2000 and whatever is the highest number here in the range. And so we have a lot of area in the pink color, and notice that most of the northern hemisphere is in the pink color, and all the Arctic, almost all the Arctic, and all of North America, and from northern Africa up is all, it's got pink. We've also got some pink in the Antarctic, or over the Antarctic as well. So here's the Met-1 satellite in the afternoon, and the mean was 1910, and the high reading was 2342, so we can see that's quite a bit lower than the other high reading, but notice all the pinks. So on the Met-2 satellite in the, oh, guess what? This is the wrong day. I'm going to have to pause this and get the right day. Hold on. See if I can get the right data. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I didn't realize that NOAA had not updated this one when I was downloading the images this morning, so I went and got it just now. So the mean or average here was 1889. This is in the morning for the 5th for Met-2. The high reading was 2450. And look at this. This is for the afternoon on the Met-2 satellite. And half the data's missing. Over half the data's missing, and it's over all of the Arctic and almost all of the northern hemisphere, where we have the highest methane readings, and all of South America is missing. So with considering that, I'm not going to take this as a good reading. They say the mean is 1864 and the high reading was 2383, but I'm not going to use that. So here's what I did. Let's go over here. I want to check something real quick. I'm going to change this 1889. So so what I did on my spreadsheet, let me get this centered. Instead of using the data for the 5th for my weekly report, I'm going to use the data from the 4th, because I consider, with a picture like this, I consider that incomplete data, and I don't see how NOAA can even put up something like this. Don't they have quality control people to even look at stuff to see? And it was not only for this level. When they have an outage like that, I'll show you. So here's the website that I go to, and here's for Saturday the 5th, and here's methane, so you can get any of these, water vapor, ozone, etc., etc. And so here's methane. So here's Met-1 morning and afternoon, Met-2 morning and afternoon. So when you click on here, they have, I think it's like 100 different levels, starting at 0.16 millibars, going down. Then that's very high up in the atmosphere. It's right at the tippy edge, and it goes all the way down to surface level of 1042 millibars. But see, they all see the picture, the little thumbnail, they all have the missing data. They all do. And here's the, now I just look at that. Why is that 477 not showing up? There it is. So that's the one I downloaded. So I don't consider that accurate, so since so much of it is missing, so so I'm not using that. So let's go back to the spreadsheet. So on the 4th, and I'll go ahead and show you what happened this week. So on my report last Sunday, on the 29th, we were showing 1898.75 parts per billion, and it had gone up 1.25 parts per billion. And then on the 30th, it went up 1.75. On the 31st, it went down 0.75. On the 1st, it went down 1.25. On the 2nd, it went up 0.25. On the 3rd, there was a sharp decrease of 3.25 parts per billion. It had gone down to 1895.5. And it didn't have huge missing data. And here on the 4th, it shot back up 2.75. So overall, from the 29th to the 4th, so from Saturday to the next Friday, it had gone down 0.5. And since this data was so skewed, I don't think it's accurate. So that would have put us going down 6 parts per billion this week if I had used the data from the 5th. And I just didn't want to do that. Because this is close enough to use the 4th. So here it is with the 4th, and so the data from the 4th was 1909, 1887, and 1888, and averaged out it was 1898.25, and so that's a slight decrease of 0.5 parts per billion this week. So here it is with the line barely going down here. And so since March the 1st, or the end of February, we've gone up 21.75 parts per billion. And since March the 1st of 2019, when I started tracking all of this, we've gone up 41 parts per billion. Now we're still in the middle of the typical methane rising season until about mid-October, but we passed the high a long time ago. We passed that back in, I think it was June or July. So we're in no man's land. We haven't seen it, methane like this, and since humans have been recording it, we haven't seen it like this. So we don't know what to expect, except it's going to get hotter and the storms are going to get worse. We know that. And anyway, so now let's go through our slideshow. So, and then we'll move on to sea ice and climate. So here were the fires in California yesterday. Now here was this fire starting down by Yosemite. This is called the Creek Fire, and it had come up yesterday, and even that was huge, where it was causing its own thunderstorm yesterday. And then there are all these other fires forming, and we've had bad air for 3 weeks here in Reno, because we're getting the smoke when the wind blows from pretty much any direction except if it's coming from the east. If it's coming from any other direction, we're getting the smoke. But luckily, we haven't had fires that haven't been able to be put out in the immediate area. So Reno and Sparks, we're okay so far, fire-wise. It's just the smoke, and I can't even go outside. So here it is. This is from NASA Worldview. So this is a little bit different picture than the Zoom Earth. But this is what it's showing on NASA Worldview today. How much it's ballooned up and spread out. See, but the other picture is more dramatic that I just showed you. This is I think this is nitrogen dioxide for today. This is the North America view. So here in California we see this white area. So I've concluded, I've seen this on different readings on cams, that when you have a white area that it's higher than what their instruments can read. So it's off the chart. So you can see that's not looking good. And it's high from Texas over. I don't know why, but it just is. This is one of these was formaldehyde. No, maybe this was formaldehyde. And this is nitrogen dioxide. That's right. This is nitrogen dioxide. Anytime you have these fires burning, it puts off all these toxic gases and things. This is ozone at surface level today, and so we can see lots of bad ozone up here in Northern California, and then down here from LA down through San Diego, and there are fires burning down here too. Here's the African dust from cams for today, and we can see another arm is starting out across the Atlantic now. Here's the smoke from the fires. This is the Arctic view. Here's Russia where it's burning. Here's California and across North America, and here's the smoke coming out across the Arctic in a couple of different places, and we'll be able to see this on NASA Worldview. Here's the North America view of the smoke from cams, and so it's intense. It's very intense and just spreading out. Here it is worldwide. And so compared to Africa and South America, this is a peanut up here in North America. And see, in Siberia it's gone way down too. So here's total aerosols. So that's what we're breathing in. Here's the ozone hole over the Antarctic today. This is awful. This is one of the worst that I've ever seen it. And look how huge it is. It's extending way beyond the continent itself. And it's see, the black line means that anything in the black line is in the danger zone. This is below 200 Dobson units, or 200 Dobson units and below. About. And when you're getting into the green or the yellow green even, it's less than normal or healthy. The solid yellow here, that's healthy at 300 Dobson units. Then when you get up into the oranges and reds, that's higher ozone readings. But this is awful. I've never seen it like this bad, where it's just over the whole, way out over the whole continent. Of course, they are at the end of their, or coming to the end of their winter season in the South Pole, as the North Pole is coming to the end of its melt season, or into the summer. And so, but the sun's coming up, it's up. And so, at the end of the winter season is when we will see the hole open up, but I've never seen it open up like that. It's awful. Here's the North Pole, and we've got a hole over all of, well, this is the Arctic view. We've got this green going all the way across from Canada over to Russia and throughout Russia and down. And see this blue-green, that's even thinner. And see, we've got a lot of green over North America, and it's so this is from the fires. The smoke and the fires and the sulfur dioxide will eat up the ozone layer. So that's what that's from. Here's the global view of the ozone. So it's not looking good at all. It's very, very troubling. And looks like most of the planet is in the green or under to me. But it's not looking good. Here's sulfur dioxide for today. The highest readings are here over China and here in southern Kazakhstan, and also here in southern Alaska. This is in Alaska, that's from earthquakes and volcanic activity. Here it is at 500 HPA. We're not seeing anything highly unusual. We saw earlier this week, we saw a high reading in Colombia and off the coast of South America near Panama, and that's still hanging around. And but that's dissipating. We've got Popo still as a high reading as well. Popocatépetl. Here are the earthquake pictures that I took today. There were 260 worldwide on USGS when I took this picture. Now we've got a lot of evidence of plate movement. One thing that really stands out is these here lined up in the Atlantic Ocean on this red line coming right down through the Atlantic Ocean. We've got, this is a 4-something that's south of Iceland. Then this is a 5-something in the North Atlantic. Then this is a 6-something here in the Mid-Atlantic and a 4-something here. Then we've got a 6-something here in South America. This is where we had the 6.8 last week or about a week ago. So that's still rocking there. And this is a 5 here in the Fiji area. So we've got a 6 and a 5 here, Solomon Islands, and a 6-something here at the Philippines, 5-something here in Indonesia. Then we've got all these 4s going on. And we've got some larger ones here in the United States as well. And up here It's this on the southeast edge of the Cocos Plate. It's still rocking there. Here in the lower 48, there were 167 today. And notice the lack of earthquakes up here in the Pacific Northwest, and only one in the Yellowstone region. And this is, I joke and say, the earthquake makers are at home. They're off work on Saturday and Sunday, so that's why you have fewer earthquakes where you normally see a bunch of quarry blasts, because the quarry blasts will set off earthquakes. So we're not seeing quarry blasts today, so there's that. But we're seeing plenty of other stuff. Here in Southern California, the Searles Valley Ridgecrest area, there were 28 here today. Here in western Nevada, from Tonopah all the way over to Mammoth Lakes, there were 60 here today. And we're seeing the movement spreading out as well, up past Walker Lake and moving across. Here in Northern California and in the Reno area, there were 4 today. There was a 1.0 at Truckee, 2.3 at Empire, which is just northeast of Pyramid Lake as you're leaving Pyramid Lake. And here at Viola was a 2.3 and a 1.1. Now the fires are all burning around in this area. Here in Southern California on the coastline was a 3.8 at Santa Ynez. This came in at 6:48 last night. Here we're looking at Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, and we've got 4 here. We've got some bigger ones. We had a 3.4 here at Aaron Springs, Oklahoma, and a 2.5 at Perry, Oklahoma. This was a 2.8 in West Texas. This was south of White City, New Mexico. And then up here on the New Mexico-Colorado border was a 2.7. Okay, so here we're looking at South America and this south from the like the equator down from the Atlantic. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 earthquakes in this view. So we've got a 6.6. This big one here was a 6.6 on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. This came in at 11:51 p.m. last night. And then at 1:29 this morning was a 4.6 right in the same place. Here in Chile, we had a 6.3. That's the big one, and a 4.0 and a 4.7. So this is the area where that 6.8 happened last week. I think it was last week. And then we've got a 4.6 up here off the coast at Panama, and 4.4 here at Columbia. So this is where we saw the sulfur dioxide coming up too. Here we're looking at the North Atlantic, and we've got 3 earthquakes. We've got a 5.3 at the northern Mid-Atlantic Ridge at 11:38 last night, so almost at the same time as we saw the 6.3 further down on the line, and then two 4.4s on the Reanalyzer Ridge. At one at 12:36 this morning and one at 8:17. These are all on the tectonic plate lines. Here we're looking at the South Pacific area. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this picture. The biggest one is this 6.3 at Talagutong, Philippines. This came in at 8:23 this morning. And all these times are Pacific time, because that's my time zone. And then we had a 5.4 and a 5.1 at Vanuatu, 5.4 at Tonga, and we had a 4.9 at Vanuatu, and 6.2 at Vanuatu. That's another big dot underneath here. So Vanuatu was shaking. So Vanuatu had 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that 5.4 at Tonga, and I'm lost. So not all of these are, I couldn't get them all on the map. I think there were 11. There were 11 earthquakes and only 7. I can only fit 7 right here with the font size the way I have it, to where I can see it and it shows up good when I record. So there's that, and those are all of my pictures for that. Now let's move on to sea ice. So here's sea ice and snow cover for today. This is from Climate Reanalyzer. And we've had some cyclones churning around up there, and we still have them moving. One's getting ready to move through with some rain and snow. We had one churning around north of Greenland this week. So we've had it's some breakdown, a lot of breakdown here north of Greenland and on this eastern side, and up on this in quadrant 1. I named the quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. We've had a lot of breakdown over here in the Bering Sea. I mean the Beaufort Sea. Get all my seas mixed up, especially B's. Here's the Bering. This is the Beaufort here. But what's strange is it looks like now you can see with the darker color, that's where it's less concentrated and it's falling apart. And but it looks like it's spreading out here, and so instead of it really disintegrating, I think it is just coming apart, and I don't think it's refreezing yet. I don't think it's really that cold up there to start getting a good refreeze going. It's kind of early in the season for that to happen, but you can see this tail is breaking apart and disintegrating, and you'll see it on NASA Worldview, and there's huge chunks, huge just open water, huge spaces of open water here and here north of Greenland and here near north of Ellesmere Island, and wherever you see it's not where it's kind of like dark, it's like a lot of open water. It's just a lot. So there's that. So let's go back through the slideshow for this week. So here we were last Sunday when I did my show. Here's what it looked like, and here was the tail. You can see it kind of came further over, and there was more ice on this little ear up here. So here we go. So here was Sunday, here was Monday, Tuesday. So that was a big change on Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that's where we're at with that. Here's the Navy model for sea ice thickness for today. They ran this yesterday, the 5th, and let's zoom in. So here's our quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can see in quadrants 1 and 2 we're down to lavender and some darker purple here, just a little thicker area right along here, along this edge, and it's not put together very well at all. When you look at NASA Worldview, here we've got a hole on this northeast edge of Greenland that's been opening up. It's still disintegrating on this eastern edge of Greenland. We still have a skim over there. Now, we had seen the ice break away from the coastline of Greenland, and there was a space up here, a pretty good sized space, but now that seems to be closing back up. I don't think it's from refreeze. I think it's as a result of these storms from the wind and the waves pushing the ice, the pieces of ice, back up to the coastline. That's what I think is going on. We've got retreat open area. This is open water here around Ellesmere Island and through this Canadian archipelago, and you can see the aqua color. That's the thickest. It's about 2 meters thick here. It's breaking off. We can see a piece. This piece has broken off away from the main part. This is what's left of what used to be the thick sea ice, and we can see as the colors are changing, that's showing how the ice is breaking down. It's getting thinner and breaking down and disintegrating, and it's flowing out. It's part of it's trying to hug this coastline as best it can, but it's also flowing out through these tributaries. And here's the Beaufort Sea. This is opened up here on this to the west of this 80-degree north latitude. I'm a little surprised that we still have this little ear. I thought that would be gone by now, but we still have that, and we still have a little skim right here, and I'm surprised that we have as much ice as what's showing here, but it's not healthy ice at all. It's just a skim. Now here's the 30-day model. The data starts for August the 15th, and then the the forecast runs out a week from today. I think. What's today? Yeah. So out through the 17th. I mean the 13th. Through the 13th. So we're not done with the melt season yet. Traditionally, the end of the melt season is around September 20th. That's when the sun starts going down in the North Pole, and then it starts refreezing. But traditionally, that's when we're at the thinnest and the least extent. But considering how warm these temperatures are of the water, and it's warming from underneath and melting from underneath, we may see melt continue into October. We've seen that the last couple of years. It slows down later in September, but we may see the melt continue. So we're seeing a dramatic decrease and a dramatic change in these 30 days, and especially in the forecast period. I'm going to stop it in a second here. Alright, here's the last day of the forecast for the 13th. So this is where this model is showing it to be a week from now. It's showing that the ice is coming back around this coastline of Ellesmere. It's just being pushed up right here. I think it's still going to be pretty broken up, but see, here's the last of the thick ice, and it's just huddling right here along this Canadian island, little island part here. It's still running off here through this tributary and running out here. It's getting thinner. We can see a dark blue area here, so that's down to 1 meter. The dark blue is 1 meter, and the dark aqua is about 1.5 meters thick. So it's that's what we've got, and then just the skim. But you know, when they're counting extent, they count this white stuff, which is like just a film, an icy film, lacy. I call it lacy, and they count that as extent. But you know, I've got my own opinions, but we won't go into that. So that's what we're looking at. Oh, I wanted to go through. So here we are today, the 6th. So I'll click through slowly and we can see the projected changes day by day. Here's the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So the shape is like getting thinner. It's like shrinking. It's like squishing together. Instead of it being round, it's more elongated now, right there. So that's what we've got. And it's still disintegrating here in the Beaufort Sea. Now I wanted to show, I've been recently I've started recording or catching or saving the images for sea surface temperature anomaly from Climate Reanalyzer, and here it is for yesterday. This is their latest for yesterday. Now this is where the sea surface temperature is higher than normal, and so the white areas where it's normal, considered normal, from the 1971 to 2000 baseline. They're using that as a baseline. Where you see the blues, it's cooler than normal, and then when you start seeing the tans and browns and up into the reds and pinks, that's warmer than normal, and the top end is 6°C higher than normal. And it could go higher than that. Their scale only goes to 6°C higher than normal. So what we have here, this is yesterday, so most of the exposed sea surface is in the browns and the reds and pink area, and here's the Kara Sea, here's the Barents Sea, here's the Laptev Sea, here's the East Siberia Sea. Now the East Siberia ice shelf is right along, or East Siberia Arctic shelf is along this Siberia coastline. So all that's higher than normal. And where the ice is melted, the temperature, the sea surface temperature is higher than normal, except for we have just a little bit where it's in the blues, and but overall worldwide we're at 0.5°C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 1°C, the North Atlantic is up 1°C, and the North Pacific is up 0.9°C. So that's sea surface temperature. And see, the Baffin Bay is red and brown, and then here off the coast of Canada it's very hot, it's red. Most of the Atlantic is in the brown. We've got the Pacific and the brown and red and all of that. Now I've been saving these, and I wanted to show you something that flipped me out. Here on the 3rd, and it did this a couple of days. Oh, let me see. Here we go. On the 30th, now we see the white area here, but in the middle. Here it is on the 31st. Now look at this on September the 2nd. Now they didn't report for the 1st, or I didn't catch it. This is flipping me out. Look at all of these areas that are in the brown. This indicates to me where the ice has melted. Where the ice has melted a lot, and they're able to measure the sea surface temperature and see it's in the browns. It's at least 2°C higher than normal. And this is where that thickest ice is supposed to live. Look at that. That's kind of flipping me out. And through here, In a couple of days it showed up like that. Here it is on the 3rd. Same thing. See? A lot of browns. And then look at this red and pink up here. This is the Laptev Sea. Here's Friday, and those areas are not there. Look at that. We've got some brown over here, or some tan, but all those other areas, they're gone. So it's back in the null zone. And same thing for yesterday. So those are all of my pictures. Now, let's move on. This is turning into a long report. What do I want to do? Well, we can go through Climate Reanalyzer. Now, what we're seeing here, this is maximum 2-meter temperature today, and we're seeing some cooler temperatures over the Arctic. This is air temperature, which is good, and that could be like cooling down the sea surface temperature too. And but we've got a lot of greens, which is at 0 Celsius as well. So that's going to be above freezing, these greens. But here's all the whites in the southwest. It's these are temperatures 40 to 50 C. That's above 100 degrees. It's this whole, it's awful. And here in the middle of the United States and South America and Africa. But see, California is all in the white, and Arizona, New Mexico, and down into Mexico. We were cooler today. The high today was only 95, and the weather person said that was because there was so much smoke that it kept it cooler. Here's the 2-meter temperature anomaly from today. Look at all this brown going all straight across. Now over the Arctic we've got a lot of brown, so even with those cooler temperatures it's still warmer than normal. So the Arctic is up 2 C higher than normal, and the northern hemisphere is up 1 C. So that's what we're looking at. You know, when you're talking about an increase in global temperature, I mean, we're seeing the increase in certain areas already. It's just not all over the world. Worldwide, it's up 0.4 C higher than normal. But so when you're talking about an increase of 1 C, and this is only from 1979 to 2000 as a baseline, then you know, it's hot. This is, we're in the throes of the end. This is abrupt, irreversible runaway climate change and heating, and the Arctic is up 2 C. Here's precipitation and clouds. Now here's where this next system is, and it's a cyclone, and we're going to have another one coming up, but this one is going to come over and around. I can run the movie for you, but it's going to turn around for a few days over quadrant 4, right over this thickest sea ice. So I'm not holding out a lot of hope for that sea ice. Here's the 10-meter wind speed. This is a high pressure right here coming down, and that's about 10 knots. The dark blue is 10 knots. And then here's our other systems coming in. Then look at this coming up from the Atlantic. Here's sea level pressure. So here's this low. This is the cyclone that's set up. It's 992 millibars right now with the rain and snow. So that's right. It's affecting this eastern edge of the sea ice right now. Here's the jet stream. We can't really see it very well up here. It's weak, and that's what's causing it to be so crazy around the planet and set up for the weather chaos. We can see there's no rhyme or reason here. I already showed you sea ice and snow cover and sea surface temperature anomaly. Now while we're here, I know this is going to be long, it's just the way it is. I may have to take a break. Hourly forecast. Now when you're watching these videos, if it's too long, just take a break, just pause it, and then just come back, because all of this is important. So let's go back to the beginning of today, and I'm going to zoom out so we can get everything on here, and I can toggle this. So here's this. Now we've had this system that's at 999 millibars, just north of Greenland. That's been tearing up the sea ice. That's going to go away. Now this one is the one I'm really watching. That's at 989, and see, the green is rain, the blue is snow, and the pink is freezing rain. See, a lot of freezing rain there. So let's run this, and this is a 10-day forecast. Look how this runs straight across the North Pole, then it spreads out, and then it takes shape here, right over quadrant 4, right over that thick sea ice. Here comes another one. See? Here it comes, coming down. Here comes another one. And then it starts over. So so I'm going to stop it. So let's go back. So it's a few days with this. So here's the beginning of the 6th. Here's the beginning of the 7th. That's about at the North Pole. There's a lot of rain there, so whatever ice is at the North Pole is going to go. And see, during the 7th it starts swooping down going straight down to the thick sea ice. Now here's the beginning of the 8th, and now it's at 988 millibars, so that's not good. And it's snowing. Here's the beginning of the 9th, and it's churning, churn there. See? And here's the beginning of the 10th, it's still churning. And here's the 11th, it's still going. And then it finally fizzles out at the end of the 11th. And then we've got another one coming in. So we've got issues. We've got problems down there. So there's that. Now let's go over some other websites. Here's the National Snow and Ice Data Center. Here's the concentration for yesterday. This is the blue marble view. And the darker blue means it's not very thick at all and not put together well. So look at the blue all the way around the North Pole. So that's really breaking down. That's how that mosaic ship was able to sail right up there. Here's the sea ice extent. This is area of ocean with at least 15% sea ice. The blue line is this year. The dotted line is 2012. And they're not up to date. They're still back in I don't know, end of August. But according to where they are here, we're higher than 2012 this time last year, this time in 2012, but we're still lower than the other years. It's still going down is what it's showing. It's bad. It's very bad. Here's the Greenland ice sheet. Here's where it's melting today, down here on this southwest edge in the salmon color. Here's cumulative melt days since January 1st. And we can see that this northeast edge has gotten the brunt of it along with the southeast. It's melted so much ice, and this ice, since it's on land and it's melting, it adds to sea level rise. Here's the Greenland melt extent. The red line is this year, and the dotted blue line is the median. Their range was from 1981 to 2010 was what they're gauging it to. And so we can see we've had high melt at different times, but it's spiked back up. At the beginning of September, it spiked back up. So there's that. Now let's go over to NASA Worldview. I'll refresh this. And I'll close this up. Thank you, Larry or Lawrence, for that tip that I can close up that little ribbon so we can see more of the data here. So this is sea ice concentration today. I'm going to turn off the clouds, turn on the blue marble layer. So, like we saw, where we saw that another cyclone kind of hanging around just north of Greenland for the last week or so. So it's really deteriorated and broken down here, and what we'll be able to see through the clouds will be a lot of open water. We've got here's the hole on this northeast edge. Here's heavy melt and deterioration. Here's on this ear, this northwest ear, and so that's still in breaking down. And we've got heavy melt and deterioration going on up here. This is from that system that's coming up, and now it's going to start coming across right down here, and you can see where the lines are. That's the system. You will be able to see it melting, and then along the edges, of course. And here's the tail there. So let's go back a few days. Let's go back to the 30th. This is where it was this time, or when I did my report last week. So here's the 30th, 31st. Here's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. You see huge changes from day to day. Look at that. Look how the tail is disintegrating there by the 4th. Here's the 5th, and here's today. So let's turn that, turn this, and see the smoke. Now we've got a bunch of clouds, so the smoke is mixed in with the clouds, so it's hard to tell the difference, except that it's a darker, it's like a grayish, where it's more gray where the smoke is coming down and across, and that smoke and the soot it'll eat up the sea ice too. So let's see what we can see. So here's our system that's going to be swooping across, swooping down and around, and swooping and coming right down over our precious little, what's left of the thick sea ice, huddling up along this little area right here. So okay, we're looking through some clouds here, but we are able to see the ice through this thin layer of clouds. Look at that. See, it's not really refreezing, it's just smashing back up against the coastline. And a lot of open water. Trying to find spots where we can see through. It's hard with it so cloudy. We can see the ice though. See the chunks of ice? I wonder how much of this is clouds and how much is like a thin layer of ice between the thicker ice. Well, we saw the pictures from the mosaic. It was... maybe this is what it really... maybe this is open water in between those pieces of ice. Maybe that's what it really looks like. Normally we can't even see through a cloud to see the ice up here. So here's Ellesmere Island. We've got a lot of clouds here, but you can see here's where the ice is way out. It's all broken up. Now we're looking through clouds here. Can't really see anything. Let's stay on this east side for a while. Okay, here's the hole by Greenland. These are clouds, but we can see the hole in the ice there. See? So it's too cloudy to see much of anything there. Here's this east edge. Here's the ice edge here. Right along there. That's pretty well defined. See, there it is broken up. Here's our system, our cyclone coming in. Here's some ice up here, I think. Here's some, yeah, there's the edge. Here's the edge. Here's some ice. See, that's broken up. So here's the edge. Now we're on the west side. Lots of clouds. Let's see. Here we go. That's open water. Here's the tail. I think. Let me turn the ice back on. Oh, I was wrong. Here's the tail. Can't really see it because there's too cloudy. Now we can see through the clouds. This is part of the tail. Look how far apart the ice is. Look at all that open water, and they're going to count all of that as extent. So that's deceiving. It makes people think that we're okay, but we're not okay. See? Look at that. And it's all smoky and cloudy. So I think we'll leave it at that. That's about as much as we can see on the sea ice today. Let's see if anything else has come in on earthquakes to look at. Oh my gosh. That's unbelievable. Plate movement. That's what we're seeing. Let's look at Japan. Here's a 5.1, 4.5, and 4.9. Anyway, just lots of earthquakes, lots of activity. Oh look, we've got some earthquakes up in the Pacific Northwest now. Anyway, Texas is still moving. Let's see what Hawaii is doing. A couple of days ago, Kilauea was swarming. There were 61 earthquakes right in the crater. This is only 12 today, so that's not too bad. Okay, oh, look at this one. 5.0 at the Falkland Islands region. Now we've been seeing activity here just next to this Western Peninsula in the Shetland Islands region. We've been seeing activity this last week down there, so I'm not surprised. It's more plate movement is what we're seeing. So that's what can I say? Now I'd like to finish up by reading out of the Bible. We're reading the prophetic books of the Bible. I finished up Hosea yesterday, so we're going to start on Joel. And Joel is a short book, but I'm just going to read one chapter. I've done all of Joel in one reading, and that's on my YouTube channel if you'd like to search for it. It's just called the Book of Joel. But I'm going to read it again. I'm going to start with chapter 1 here, because a lot of the people who are into prophecy in the end times use Joel as one of the books that's specifically pointing to the end times and what is coming for us and what we're in the middle of. So I think it's very pertinent. Joel chapter 1. The word of the Lord that came to Joel the son of Bethuel. Hear this, ye old men, and give ear, all ye inhabitants of the land. Hath this been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Tell ye your children of it, and let your children tell their children, and their children another generation. That which the palmer worm hath left, hath the locust eaten, and that which the locust hath left, hath the cankerworm eaten, and that which the cankerworm hath left, hath the caterpillar eaten. Awaken, ye drunkards, and weep and howl, all ye drinkers of wine, because of the new wine, for it is cut off from your mouth. For a nation is come up upon my land, strong and without number, whose teeth are the teeth of a lion, and he hath the cheek teeth of a great lion. He hath laid my vine waste, and barked my fig tree. He hath made it clean bare, and cast it away. The branches thereof are made white. Lament like a virgin, girded with sackcloth, for the husband of her youth. The meat offering and the drink offering is cut off from the house of the Lord. The priests, the Lord's ministers, mourn. The field is wasted, the land mourneth, for the corn is wasted. The new wine is dried up, the oil languisheth. Be ye ashamed, O ye husbandmen. Howl, O ye vine dressers, for the wheat and for the barley, because the harvest of the field is perished. The vine is dried up, and the fig tree languisheth, the pomegranate tree, the palm tree also, and the apple tree, even all the trees of the field are withered, because joy is withered away from the sons of men. Gird yourselves and lament, ye priests. Howl, ye ministers of the altar. Come, lie all night in sackcloth, ye ministers of my God. For the meat offering and the drink offering are withholden from the house of your God. Sanctify ye a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land into the house of the Lord your God, and cry unto the Lord. Alas for the day of the Lord is at hand, and as a destruction from the Almighty shall it come. Is not the meat cut off before our eyes? Yea, joy and gladness from the house of our God? The seed is rotten under their clods. The garners are laid desolate. The barns are broken down, for the corn is withered. How do the beasts groan? The herds of cattle are perplexed, because they have no pasture. Yea, the flocks of sheep are made desolate. O Lord, to thee will I cry, for the fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness, and the flame hath burned all the trees of the field. The beasts of the field cry also unto thee, for the rivers of waters are dried up, and the fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness. Joel chapter 1. Well, it sounds like what we're seeing. Sounds like what I'm seeing out my window. And I think time is short. And if you have not given your life to Jesus Christ and gotten right with God and Jesus and repented of your sins, time may just be running out real fast, and you might want to do that. I recommend it that you do that soon, before it's too late. So, I'm praying for everybody. I love you all, and I'll be back next week. I may be back during the week on YouTube, depending on what goes down. But I'll definitely be back next Sunday and do another update. So, I'm praying for everyone, and until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.